All right, guys, we're back at the dock. Let's see what we got shaking in front of the boat.
All right.
Here's the lobster slayer number one. Dina's right here. Tearing it up. What we got going?
A lot of lobster.
A lot of lobster. All right, guys, here we go. Obviously, we busted it out on mini season. Day 1 and day 2, we got a full limit for everybody. So I'm going to cover on the end of the video how to catch lobster at the bridges, what to look for, what to do, and also what to do when you're offshore. So grab your life jackets and hang on, and welcome aboard today's adventure. All right, go ahead, Dina. We're ready.
Good morning.
We almost went to the Monkey last night and just stayed there, huh, Rich? Could have just got a burger for breakfast, and so we're at the secret spot. A couple guys found our secret spot.
Go ahead, Richie.
Anchor's going in, sun's coming up. Okay, we get down underwater. I kind of head over towards the bridge, and wham! I basically ran into a lobster hotel over here. One comes shooting out. I'm actually after the bigger one behind him, which I grabbed here. So good tickle stick maneuver, nice neck catch, solid. Okay, the first thing I do, guys, when I get one in the net, I check for eggs quick. Second, you gotta get them out of the net. You know, like here, I know this lobster is big enough. I can tell by when I caught it. I really don't need to measure it. You can, sometimes you just know I've caught a lot of them, but usually I'll measure them in the net first if I feel like I need to measure them. You've got a good hold on them, you can measure them quick, and a lot of times if they're a little bit short, you can just let them go, flip the net, and they'll get out. So look over, I got another lobster right next to me. This is going to keep going for a while. I landed on like a whole group of them here. You want to keep an eye on the back exit. So I bumped that guy out, and look at all the antennas coming out of the back. I just landed on a hotel. See here, I'm measuring him, and you could tell when I pushed it down, he's soft shell. We're just coming out of full moon. I believe a lot of these guys molt during the full moon. So I just got on the bottom, knocked out a couple quick. I got a whole pile of them under this rock and under a couple other rocks as I was looking around. There's a bunch of them right where I landed on the bridge here. So usually that's not the case. We kind of knew they would probably be in there. The guys had lobstered this area on the mini season. What I did there was I held the tickle stick down next to them. I know how long the end of my stick is and compared to the capria, so a lot of times I can tell if they're too short. Again, as I looked over, I could see the next rock over had antennas coming out of it everywhere. I've been doing this for about maybe 10 years total time down here, guys. This is the most lobsters I've ever ran into on an opener. Usually you get one or two here or there, and you pluck away pretty hard to get your 6 all day long. I just landed into a big pile of them. Anytime you get on the bottom and you find a lobster, they're very gregarious. They're going to be hanging out with other ones. So I'm trying to get this guy out of the net, and he takes off on me. Sometimes they'll escape, so I know he's big enough. I'm just going back after him. Snapped him up again quick. If you're lobstering near grass and you lose them, they're going to bail into that grass and take off. It's hard to catch them, but here on this bottom, you can typically see them. The visibility was really good today for the bridges. A lot of times it's not. It's very difficult as far as the visibility perspective. Give him a quick measure. He felt like he was big enough, but I want to verify if they're even somewhat close. I always verify that measurement. Okay, I'm looking over. There's another one. It looks like a decent one. Now watch. This is how you tickle them out. Gradual. you want to keep the lobster focused on the tickle stick, not the net behind him. And you can see the lobster to the left as I just panned over when I grabbed this one. They were like everywhere where I landed. It was just crazy. So I'm getting him out, gonna measure him up here. He feels like he's big enough, but he was big enough. The ones I know, I can tell by how wide they are when I grab them if I need to measure them or not. Like I said, I've caught a lot of them over the years. You definitely know, you get the feel for them when you get a smaller one. But you can see I had lobsters everywhere around me on this particular dive here. Trying to get him out of the little bit of the seaweed that's builds up underneath the bridge as the flow's going through there. So. All right, so as you're catching these lobsters and they make that squeaking sound with their antennas, you definitely want to keep an eye on the other lobsters that are near you. If you're back in the bay and you're on structure and there's a lot of grass around, what'll happen after you catch one or two and they're squeaking their antennas, the rest of them will come out of the holes and take off into the grass. So I'm really kind of trying to keep an eye on that, because I've got lobsters everywhere, but there's so many of them. I think they're kind of comfortable with what they're doing, where they're hanging, because there's a lot of them sitting right in this 15-foot area. Okay, grabbing another one out here, guys. Like I said, I ran into a little lobster hotel here. This one does not want to come out. Kind of working them. Again, it's a tickle stick. It's not a billy club. I'm just trying to coax him out. He was bucking, fighting it. He did not want to come out of the hole. I did tickle him out. And you want them focusing on more the tickle stick and ignoring the net. So I try to reach the net around behind them, have it sitting still as you're tickling them with the stick. Again, taking them out, it takes an extra minute or two. They've got a lot of little spines on them, hence spiny lobster. That one I definitely knew was big enough because he was really, really a wide lobster. There were a lot of big ones in the group of lobster I was in right here. Okay, I'm just about finished up here, guys. I'm just working my way back to the boat, basically. See another one. He's an easy grab. You kind of want to get back to the boat. We rotate divers, and you got about an hour on the bridge. So maybe you got a half hour each or whatever. However you guys are working it on your boat. But I'm on the way back to the boat, running to this one. So as I'm working my way back here, I ran into that guy. Look over. There's another one sitting right there. Easy one to catch. Like I said, I'm on the way back of the boat. Switch divers out. Time-wise, we rotate different stuff here. So I'm going to grab him on the way back. You don't know what the other divers are into or what they caught. Typically, you'll start together, but you seem like you get broke up quite a bit. The bridge is shallow enough to snorkel, you guys. Easy to do. We dive it so we can stay on the bottom just due to the boat traffic during mini season. It's a very dangerous spot to go. And you want to keep an eye on where your boat is. There I was checking the boat. I was off a little bit, and I'm just going back to rotate out. All right, guys, we're just pulling off here. We finished up the day with the crew. Everybody wave, Miss Tamara.
Another great lobster day. 2024.
Took a lot of work, but we wrapped it up. Just a word of advice, 0.8 miles an hour of current. It's a bit too much, in case you're wondering. Wait till it hits 0.6, but we wrapped it up. We got a limit, and we're heading back to the barn. All right, guys, get to the bottom. This is day number 2. We're out on the reefs. Once the bridges get worked over, there's probably not a lot of lobsters in them. And normally, like I said, that's the most lobsters I've ever seen in one spot, ever. They must have just moved in there a day or so before. But I can guarantee you on day number 2 on the bridges, it's going to be thin. So we're out on the reef here. it's kind of it's a fun dive when you're out on the reef. We're maybe anywhere from 15 to 20 feet deep. I've got Scott with me. He's an extremely seasoned diver, but this is his first time lobstering. So him and I are working together, working with the dive buddy, catching lobsters. So we're going along. He watched a couple of my videos on how to catch them, and you know, you gotta really dial in the small things here. Like as I'm gradually getting this guy out of the net, it just takes a little bit. You just got to take a second to do it. Scott's busy looking for other lobsters. I'm wrestling him out. He's a great big lobster. You can see I got my hand. It doesn't even fit all the way around him. Once you get those big ones, like I said, I know by grabbing them, just the size of them, that I need to measure them or if I don't need to measure them. I'm going to show you here. When you grab their tails, they can't flip and get away from you like that. So I grabbed his tail, lowered him up. I'm going to show you guys right here how to measure. That guy was about a ½ inch longer than he needed to be. Wrestling and getting him in the bag, sometimes that takes a little work, but first one in the bag, day number 2. Okay guys, here's what I'm looking for. Can you see that antenna sticking out there? I'm very rarely, you might find a whole lobster, half of one sticking out, but I'm always looking for just the tips of the antenna. Now here, when you're messing with them, one, it's kind of a big hole. I got Scott. I know there's gonna be an in and an out on a lot of these holes. I'm trying to get Scott's attention because I'm gonna try to shoot the one out the back of the hole towards him, or if it goes out the back, I want him to be able to net him on the back side, and I'm gonna try to net him on the front side if I can get him out. There's a couple of them in there. There's a rock wedge right in the way, kinda. When I'm dealing with these holes, one, I look up in there every direction to make sure there's no moray eel. I did get bitten one year on the hand by a moray, so that's very dangerous. Like here, that rock was just sitting there. I'm gonna put it out of the way so I can get to the lobster, and I'll put it back once we're done here. But it was just kind of, I don't know, it looked like it had been knocked in there or something. But so I shot the one out the back. Scott had his net ready on the back, and this one, that's a female. So I'm showing Scott the eggs. Once you get them, if you see, I just kind of let her go on the net and push the net inside out. As hard as they are to get out of the net, they come out real easy on their own for some reason, but they will do that. That's why once you get one in your net, you want to clear it. I'm bumping this guy out the back, trying to get it where Scott can get him. Scott's working the stick a little. Lobster kind of shoots out on him. He's on the crawl. I'm trying to keep him focused on me, not where the net is. You want him focused on the tickle stick and not the net. So if you get the net close to him, hold the net still and keep the tickle stick slightly moving, and they'll be keeping their eye on that versus keeping their eye on the net and avoiding it. So we caught the second one. This one is not a female. It's a male, no eggs. So second lobster of the second day. All right, see how big this guy is here? I mean, I got my hand wrapped around him, and it only goes about halfway around that capris. And I like to flip the tail up. Like I said, it stops him from flipping. But you want to flip it up, and then they don't like that. So once you hold it coiled up, you can push them into the net, and they'll flip backwards really quick. Some garbage was floating on the reef here, guys. I scooped this up really quick. If you find stuff like that, please pick it up when you're out there. I just stuff it in the bag with the lobsters. All right, so we're cruising along, find another lobster. So I got Scott. We were communicating underwater. I had him go around the back. I knew there was a back door here. So if you got a dive buddy, it's nice to have them on the back side. Here, this coral's small enough. If I start tickling them and I'm by myself here, I'll drop the net over the backside and tickle them. And when I have the net in position, I'll just kind of whack them in the front to scare them and shoot them out the back into the net. But it's a lot easier when you got a dive buddy with you to go ahead and grab it. And you can see how big this one is as well, as Scott's holding onto him. It's another great big lobster. All right, guys, take a look at the gloves. I'm going to put a link to these gloves in the description below because they are fantastic. The first day I just had the standard orange lobster gloves everybody buys, and my hands got shredded up because actually all the spiny stuff can poke through them orange ones. So that was on the first day. The second day, Chris had these on the boat. Absolutely fantastic. I don't think I got poked once by the lobster. They're a knife, or they got a cut rating of number 5, I believe, on them. And yeah, they're just excellent as far as grabbing them, not getting cut up. You can see here, I caught another female. Take a look. I see she's got eggs. Very careful with them. So if you just turn them, they'll find their way out of that net. You just flip it inside out like that. She comes undone right there, and then I'm off to another one. Okay, I just checked to see where Scott was. I've been trying to tickle this particular lobster out here for a couple minutes. And you can see he's back in there and sideways. I'm going in for the grab. First thing I do, I checked the entire rock area underneath there to make sure there were no moray eels. I knew the lobster was a legal lobster, and I could tell by measuring him with the with my tickle stick, but then he just locked up back there. All right, you guys saw when I got him in the net, I tried to just kind of grab him and hold him initially. I thought he might be small, so by being careful, you don't want to break their legs off or break their antennas off if you can help it. You know, this one here, I got a perfect tickle out on him. That's how you use the tickle stick, guys. You just gradually if you got to get it underneath him. But you can see it could just coax him right up and just give him a little tap, and he shot up into the net. We went probably 20, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes in this dive where we only caught 1 or 2. So once you find one, you notice there was one right next to it. Once you find one, there's usually a certain number of them together. They're very gregarious. So once I catch them, you notice I floated up there. I'm up off the coral. My buoyancy's set where I'm looking down now, but I'm floating up where I'm not laying on top of the coral or stuff. So once I get them in the net, I come up about, you can see I'm up about 3-4 feet there. You want to get up off of everything so you're not bouncing around on it, damaging it. I'm very conscientious about doing that sort of thing. You can see when I set my gear down, it's usually setting on something that's not going to disturb or not hurt. All right, guys, this is a textbook how you tickle them out. All I could see were the tips of the antennas coming out of this initially. You see, I could just see them sticking out barely. I got the tickle stick underneath him, and once he gets out, I've got the net to the side. I'm not moving the net. I tap him on the opposite side. He shoots into the net. That is I'd call a classic tickle stick maneuver. Nice lobster. Again, we caught a lot of big ones this year, which, like I said, that's not normal. We had an exceptional opener. I'm guessing we were just lucky. Probably more lucky than good. Again, I always take my time getting the net off. The horns go forward, and they got other they got other things on their tail going backwards, so they kind of can get wedged into that net. You don't want to, you could tear your net up pulling them out too hard. So you want to save your net, and if it's a possible small lobster, you want to measure them in the net first. All right, you're going to see me check my air here. When you jump in the water with your dive buddy, if you guys have never dove together, you want to make sure you get some hand signals organized before you get in the water. You can hear me underwater yakking all the time here, talking to Scott underwater. You know, you can understand some things. This is cool here. So it's right toward the end. I tipped him right in there. There were 2 lobsters in there. We both got 800 pounds of air. It's the end of the dive. 2 in one little spot, so we get a double out of this location to finish up our lobstering for the day for our dive offshore. All right, so we're wrapping up these last 2 lobsters here, guys, and we're heading back in. We get back to the boat, meet with everybody else. We actually had a limit again, so little different action out there. You want multiple locations to go to. Let's say you get to the bridge and there's too many boats, or you're not comfortable with it. You've got to have multiple locations and a multiple plan B, plan C for your strategy.
Scott, tell us about your day.
Scott's first day lobstering. It was all good. I came back with most of my digits. Life is good.
Had a big one on for a minute, then you lost finger.
Yep.
Where is it? What happened to that finger?
Matt still won't give it back to me.
Nope, we're holding it
He said,
hostage.
"I
It's
gotta
on
go
ice.
One more dive."
One more dive. You got to catch 4
I
more
think he's
lobsters.
grilling it with the lobster tail.
Exactly. This one's a little chewier than the rest.
Oh, it was a good day. Matt taught me everything. So
Tell us
Good
about your
time, buddy.
business.
business, above board marine construction, installer for Deco lifts, and we build docks and install boat lifts.
And where are you located?
Inglewood, Florida.
All right, you guys, if you want the best dock installer in Inglewood and the best boat lift builder, you got them right here. That's who I was on the boat today. I felt very fortunate. So anyway, that was it. That's who I got the lobster with, and it was Scott's first day, so he did fantastic. I hopefully got some good footage. You never know when you're under the water. You got to find out later.
Betty and Rich are here. We do our lobster mac and cheese. It's incredible. The lobster needs to be in the right size chunks to go in a skillet. Captain Matt cleaned the lobster, and he's got a whole detailed discussion on the appropriate way to do it.
So we're not trying to cook the lobster, we're just trying to give it a quick browning. How to heat the pan up to finish it off. Because the lobster will cook in the mac and cheese when we cook it in the oven. So it's a very light, quick little browning of the lobster. That's it, we're done. Lobster's gonna really cook all the way when we bake it in the oven, when we make the lobster mac and cheese. To make the roux, we have to whisk in the flour, a half a cup of flour, and cook the roux for a couple of minutes till it thickens. Drop it right in.
We have greatness working.
Yes.
I just got out of the shower. Rich is all in with the professional mac and cheese.
I'm all in with the mac and cheese, all in. Keep going now.
Put this one on, Rich, so you can see a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
We got the whole crew back here. Everybody showered, clean.
Not me.
The babies.
That's right.
Betty is in charge of the whole fiasco. And Rich here is still working on the mac and cheese. Oh, this is a professional job here.
Well on its way.
A lot of lobster in there.
Are we ready? Let's get this in.
All right. So Rich and Betty are carrying it up here. Here we go.
Wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what could go wrong here?
Nothing.
Nice.
Wish we had a spatula.
I wish we had a spatula.
Betty's like, I'm not going there again. So these guys have been going back and forth. I wish I had a whisk
Well, here's one right here, honey. Right, Betty?
Yeah, we have one. We have two.
So we found the whisk. We found the spatula.
I'll need another pan. The mac and cheese is getting ready to go in the oven.
That's right. Look at all the lobster in there, Rich.
We have 8 tails in there, Matt.
8 lobster tails.
8 tails.
That's an 8-tail mac and jack.
What?
Rich is gonna take it. We're gonna pan her up here. Gonna put a little. What do you put on top, Rich? Panko?
We saved a little of Parmesan cheese, which crispens up very nicely.
There we go. A little
A little
Parmigiano.
Parmesan is in it, and then we're gonna put it on top for the crisp.
Yep. We want the crunch.
We want the crunch on top, 100%.
And you guys are probably wondering, Rich is wearing a Deco Docks shirt. What's Deco Docks? They're the #1 high-end boat lift builder in the country, out of Florida here. So if you guys are looking for a boat lift, I just happen to know a guy.
We're the guys.
We're the guys, right? These are the guys right here.
Call Chris.
Call Chris. Where's Chris?
Betty.
Chris is over there. He's a lobster destroyer as well. So if you guys,
Betty.
I'll put Deco's contact info in the video. All right, guys, we have Chris, the lobster destroyer, and little Christopher. How old is he now?
He's 4 months.
4 months. How old is
10
she?
months.
10 months. So we've got future lobster team here. We're getting them broke in.
That's right.
All right, so I'm gonna put Deco's stuff down in the description below, guys. Get serious. If you want a boat lift, they build the best boat lift you can get.
Mac and cheese has been put in ready for the oven. And then we're gonna sprinkle our Parmesan on top. You want more sugar? Yeah. We want to get a little crisp.
Man, does that smell good.
Get a little on here.
I'm filming. Camera.
This is the real deal here.
Look at that. You cannot have enough cheese on mac and cheese, lobster mac and cheese.
It's gonna give us our brown. We want brown on top. You guys will see it when it comes out of the oven.
You can smell the cheese starting to cook on top of that, Rich.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
ready to go.
All right, loading it in the oven, guys. Here we go. Hitting the oven. Not that Mo over here is making too many cocktails or nothing, but you know, could be something like that too.
Might not have affected us.
So Mo, what do you got shaking over here? Give the viewers a what's up.
World famous margaritas.
And move the
It's
chips.
unbelievable.
They are there.
With nothing.
Miss Betty is freshly out of the shower with a margarita, oddly enough.
Mo's world famous margarita right here.
They are at.
Squeezed lime juice, the
Fabulous.
ingredient.
Oh, this
Never mind the tequila or the Grand Marnier.
It does not
Fresh
matter.
squeezed lime juice is all you need.
And
Show the
the
squeezer.
lime juice, you guys. I don't know if it's a squeezer or a crusher. We're serious about squeezing limes around this house. So this bad boy,
Kelly and I figured out.
that thing weighs like 5 pounds.
Yeah. Kelly and I figured out how to do that.
Can you get that on Amazon?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up, guys. If we can get that on Amazon, I'll
It's
put the
on
link in the. Okay, I'm gonna put the link to that thing
It is
on Amazon in the video description below. Quick development. We're gonna have to squeeze one for the scampi.
Put a cup under it.
Yes.
Betty. All right. All right. Everybody, look up. We gotta.
All right, Kelly. Kelly
Who's in
can
charge?
squeeze.
Betty and Kelly are.
It's the best squeezer ever.
Best squeezer ever.
That's it.
Holy cow!
It doesn't get any better than that. There's nothing left.
Okay, you can do that one and I'll put it.
That lemon was crying to get crushed so hard.
I just hold him.
All right, all you gotta do, lady. That one's done. Did we do that one already?
That one's not done yet. Nope.
Look at that.
Aw.
That's it.
Betty's like very precise with her crushing of the
She's a
lemon.
very slow lemon crusher.
Well, you can't bang it down too hard. It'll make a loud noise.
That's what she said.
That's what Rich said I do.
That's what she said.
That's what she
You
said.
can't bang it down too hard or it's gonna make a loud noise.
Mac and
Mac and cheese
is ready.
coming out.
So Miss Betty is in charge of the entire tribe here.
I wouldn't
It's a
go.
big job. It's a big job.
It takes
And
a
out
village.
comes the mac and cheese.
It takes a village to be in charge of this crew.
Yes.
So it's Kelly, Cindy, Tamara, Betty, all the
But
women.
Betty's Betty is upper management. Yeah. We'll call Betty upper management. It's a good thing we got lobster today, or we'd be having like 4 different pizzas. So we got grilled mac and cheese. The lobster was sauteed. Rich, what do we got shaking here?
We've got our scampi. We made a little roux for it.
Man, does it smell good. Wish you guys could smell this. It
Scampi
smells
it's got
awesome.
lemon, butter, garlic, all the things that we all love.
Betty, you gonna give us a quick taste test?
Oh, you may have a taste.
No, no.
Not Betty.
I won't do it. Steve.
Not for Betty.
Oh, I'll let you know. Hold on.
We got one escaping. We had a great day today, guys. This is what we're doing. Cooking, hanging with family and friends, and everybody's hanging, watching TV, and doing the stuff.
Okay, the lobster mac and cheese was hands down the hit of the evening, guys. Camera battery kind of died at an inappropriate time, but absolutely fantastic. Wish you guys could have been there. So anyway, that was what we considered, I think, by the group, the favorite lobster dish of the evening. All right, guys, if you're going to dive the bridges, here's what I do, and I would suggest doing this. Because the current gets ripping through there. It's dangerous if you're not at slack tide. So this is Moser channel here. I'm zooming in on my Garmin on the boat. All units have the same data. So you want to touch that C. The C shows you Moser channel between Molasses and Pigeon. The black box up right that says Moser channel, I'm going to tap on that next. And it's going to give you the tide current chart. So I'm going to tap on that. Here are your tide current tables for that exact location. So if you see the numbers up there where it says slack 106, max flood 452, those are not times. That's the amount of time from the current time or where you have the cursor on the chart. 106, slack tide is in 1 hour and 6 minutes. It's dead center. They're showing 8 minutes to slack. Slack's dead center between high and low tide. So typically I like to get on the position, I would say at least an hour before slack, probably an hour and a half, get the boat set, get all the gear ready. Right there, the next slack from the top where I'm touching it's 222 to that slack tide. You're going to have about an hour of slack tide to dive that bridge. And you got to go on your chart plotter to the bridge you want to dive. And I can tell you this, all the bridges have lobster on them at a given point. This one particular day had a ton of lobster on the bridge. That's how you tell your tide times and when to dive the bridge. All right, guys, here we go. This is kind of my bridge diving 101 tips. This is not an inclusive list. I want you to understand diving the bridges can be very dangerous. You need to know what you're doing, and you need to know the variables and what can and will possibly happen. First thing I look at are tides and currents. What direction is the tide going? What direction is the current going? When is slack tide? Again, it can be very dangerous. What are we watching for? First of all, other boats. I've had boats go right over the top of me when I've been diving on the bridge. We're in 7 or 6 to 10 feet here. There's a reason I wear scuba so I can stay on the bottom. It's a safety issue. Visibility on the bridges, guys. There's a lot of times it's terrible. So you got to be expecting that. When you've got divers in the water, you have to have qualified boat spotters on the boat. The people on the boat need to know what they have to do if the anchor comes loose. If something happens to one of the divers. If one of the divers floats away and goes under that bridge, what do you do? How do you get around to save them? So there's a lot of things you need to think about. Safety equipment that we like to have on the boats. Obviously, you need dive flags for the boat. It's a good idea to have safety sausage for every diver. And again, you need very qualified divers when when we're diving the bridges, it's not a hard dive if you're right at slack, but it can go really wrong. So you need divers that are pretty well qualified. Okay guys, so once we're in the water diving, here's what we're looking for. If you look at the bridge there, you see all the supports that go down into the water. It's nice to go around all of those. There's going to be rubble along the edges of the bridge from where the bridge was built. You know, so you're going to want to check to the bridge and back, go around those columns and work your way in any of those areas that have a lot of rubble. That's kind of where they're going to be hanging up as they come through. All right, guys, thanks for joining in and coming along on today's adventure. If you haven't had a chance yet, please smash that subscribe button. I've got up to 50,000 views on some of my videos. I don't have near 50,000 subscribers. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please smash that. And if you've got a comment or you got a suggestion or anything to help all of us be a little better at what we're doing out here, please send that over. And as always, if you like today's video, give me a thumbs up on the like. I've got a description down below for Deco docks, how to get a hold of them, for the recipe for the lobster mac and cheese that was off the chart, for Amazon for that lemon squeezer, and for the gloves we're using diving the lobster. These gloves are absolutely fantastic. Your hands don't get cut up near as bad. So all that's in the description below. Captain Matt, Marathon Sport Fishing, signing off for today.